Well, hello, welcome in. We're excited to have you joining us today. Big day today, Sarah. What do we got going on?
We're almost done, everyone. Today we'll show you the rest of the quilt, and then we're going to stitch one of the blocks out together. We're going to do block C2 together. So I guess, do you have any announcements, or should I just jump right into it?
I say let's make sure I do have some announcements that I'll hold for a second, but I will say, as usual, if you've been around for a little bit, we do have a $10 store credit giveaway today, but to be entered, you do need to make sure you give StreamYard access by going to StreamYard.com/Facebook. It's super quick and easy. And then I'll have a keyword for you shortly, but for those of you who might be catching us for the first time, we've been doing Mystery Quilt for a few weeks now. Today's kind of the last day. My name's Aubrey, and this is my sister, Sarah, and she's a designer and digitizer, and we're not the Hoop Sisters, but we work at Hoop Sisters and we're sisters. So hello and welcome in. And I mean, that's it for now, Sarah. I got a couple things when you're ready to change the camera, but I'm going to pass it over to you for this reveal.
Okay, well, I'm just going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to take these off, and then I will grab another camera and show you guys more of a close-up view of these blocks. So the very last blocks. And I saw so today is National Selfie Day, and Aubrey asked me, this was Aubrey's idea. She talked me into it, guys. She talked me into posting a selfie at my embroidery machine. And if you guys want to join in on that, post your selfies in our Facebook VIP group and tell us what you're working on today. But I saw just before we hopped on the live that someone had said they were working, I don't remember specifically what block it was, but they were working on Mystery Quilt. I think they were all caught up through week 3, and she said she can't post a selfie though because her sewing room is too messy. So I can sympathize with that. I just picked the best, tidiest angle to take a picture from. Okay, so there it is, and I'm gonna grab this and hop over here. And then if Aubrey wants to switch my camera over, there we go. Okay, so oh my gosh, now I don't remember what I just uncovered. I think it was these blocks. So we got these blocks that we're doing well, we're not stitching these out today, but these are part of our week 4. And then today we are going to be stitching out this block right here. So this block kind of meets up with the portion to the left of it.
It's so pretty. Look at the quilting pop out. It's so nice.
And then you get your last border blocks at the top and the bottom today.
Awesome.
So there is the final product.
I love it.
Yes, me too. Now, I'm going to switch back. Sorry, Aubrey, I'm making you work today.
That's what I'm here for.
So we'll switch back. I'm going to get set up for a demo, Aubrey.
And I also love how somebody just said, and I'm trying to get it to show, but it isn't showing. There it goes. I love how they're all different. And I agree, Patricia. I think that's one of the really fun things about the Mystery Quilt is that they're all just a little bit different. So you have something new and surprises to work on, which I think is great. So while Sarah gets her demo cam set up so that we can stitch out live with you guys, I just want to remind you of 2 things. First is we do still have the free firework block, and I just think this thing is so stinking cute. It's totally free to download from our website. Just go to hoopsisters.com. I think it's actually in our vintage butterfly tab. Since we've been talking a lot about vintage butterfly, it'll be easy to find in there. But it's only a limited time that it's free. It does come in 2 sizes. So Whether you're doing Mystery Quilt or you maybe just stumbled upon us and you've never done anything of ours before, this will give you a really good taste of what Hoop Sisters is about. So go to hoopsisters.com, download that. It's totally free. And by the way, I think we've given away, Sarah figured out the other day, like 11.
I think it was 11 or 13, something like that.
Something like that. Freebies that you guys have had access to this year, which I don't think we've ever done before. So
Yes.
Looks like Sarah's ready. So I'll pass it back over to you.
Yep, ready to go. Okay, so again, this was block C2 that I am working on today, and I'll be stitching it in the 5-inch size. So I did a little work ahead of time, and I've got my battleizer in the hoop already. And just in case someone's watching for the first time and you've never heard of battleizer, that is our batting and stabilizer combination. So this is just one product that I put right in my hoop. And then right on top of that, I did step 1, which was to sew a placement stitch. You would use water-soluble thread. Mine is a little bit of a light green, just so that hopefully we can see it a little better. And then step 2 is an optional step. So if you want to add a little more loft and dimension to your blocks, this is where you would take a piece of prepared wool batting. So this is just cut to size according to the supply chart, it depends on the size block that you're doing. So just check your instructions, just cut that to size and then press the edges a bit. Now, I think it was last week, someone said they were having trouble pressing the edges. So a couple tips, if you are still having problems with that, I would crank your iron to the highest setting, try that, and make sure that you're working with a clean iron. If it's still sticking a little bit, you can take a folded piece of paper and just align it about 1/4 inch in on the edges and just move your iron slowly right along that paper. So that will help too. So just a few tips and takeaways if you're having trouble with your iron sticking. But again, this is an optional step. I'm going to go ahead and skip that step today. I'm not going to use the wool batting. And so I moved on to step 3. And step 3, with a water-soluble thread still in your needle, you'd sew the placement stitch. So I've got all that there. Now I'm on step 4. And step 4, I'm going to take fabric 6 and I will align that over my block. And then using water-soluble thread still, you'll sew your tack down. And this step will also sew the placement stitch for some of the appliques that we'll place a little later in the block.
Oh my gosh, Catherine, I was talking to someone else today who has family in Texas. I heard that it's so hot there right now. Hopefully you got really good air conditioning.
The crazy thing is we think it's hot here in Ohio and it's probably like 85 today.
I don't think it's hot. I think it's fantastic.
Okay. Okay, now before we move on to the next step, we'll grab a pair of hoop scissors or hoop scissors mini. I just have my minis laying here, so I'll use these, and you are going to trim a scant 1/4 inch from the tack down stitching just on the inside of the block. So I'll show you what I mean by inside of the block in 1 minute. Okay, so I've got that trim just along that tack down stitching only on the inside edge of the block. I'm leaving all this excess fabric on the outside edge so that it will catch in my seam once I join my blocks together. And now for step 5, we'll take fabric 4. We are going to align that over our placement stitching and then sew our tack down. And we are going to pretend that I still have water-soluble thread in my needle. Okay, now we'll go back to our hoop scissors or our hoop scissors mini again and trim it the same way. So a scant 1/4 inch from the tack down stitching on the inside edge of the block. I'm leaving all that excess fabric on the outside edge for now. And now we are on step 6. And so for step 6, we are going to take fabric 3, which I've got right here, and we will align that in the placement stitch and then sew the tack down. And we still have water soluble thread in our needle. Okay, and now for this step, when we're trimming, I would use the hoop scissors mini. It will allow you to trim a lot closer to where that tack down stitching is, because on this step, we want to trim as close as possible. And again, just on the inside edge of the block. I know my hand is probably blocking everything I'm doing. I've yet to figure out a great angle to not block it.
At least we can see the after.
Yes. Okay, now we are on step 7. So for step 7, we'll take fabric 1 and we are going to align that in the placement stitch and then again, just sew the tack down with water soluble thread.
I agree, Vicky. She says it's humid in Ohio. It is humid. I could do without that. And I totally have the allergies too. And I think somebody else has a mystery quilter. I probably would say the name wrong, so I'm not going to say it, but mentioned she's been having terrible allergies too.
I know Joni has mentioned that, and I
I
think
thought
that
that's,
she
yeah.
is in Oregon.
Oh,
Must be
okay.
all over. We have a big cottonwood tree in our backyard, and it is the time of year where all that cotton is coming down. You
Oh,
can't go
yeah.
outside sometimes. Okay, so for step 8, we have 2 pieces of fabric 5, and we're going to tack both of those down in this one step. So I'm going to align both of those, and then still with water soluble thread, we'll tack these down.
Don't worry, Vicky. We will show the quilt again. So
Yes.
if you guys have joined us a little bit late and you didn't catch it in the beginning, we will definitely show it again.
Yes. And I want to mention in a step like this, so step 8 of block C2, where you're tacking down 2 different pieces of fabric, I mostly like to kind of stop my machine right in the middle and just make sure that my piece of fabric is still aligned nicely. I don't always have to do that, but sometimes that's helpful to do. So just keep that in mind. Okay, now I'm going to use my hoop scissors mini again, and I'm going to trim close to the tack down on the inside of the block on both pieces of fabric.
Sarah, when you do that stop in between fabrics, are you just manually stopping your machine?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
And you don't have to. It just sometimes, you know, something gets off center, out of alignment a little bit. It's just a nice thing to keep in mind on a step like that. Okay, now I'm going to switch my fabric because we are on step 9. In step 9, we're going to take fabric 2 and I'll align it over those remaining placement stitches. And then it's hard for me to thread my machine and talk about what we're going to do for some reason. But I will align fabric 2 over those remaining placement stitches. And then using a thread color of your choice, we'll sew the tack down because it will also sew some detail on the fabric.
Betty Lou, I could not live there then. She said that she has the highest gross seed pollen count in the US. Sarah and I would be struggling.
Yes.
Yeah, Vicky said her trouble is she starts screaming, stop at the machine, and it doesn't listen to her. It's not like Alexa, right? That
Oh,
you
yeah.
gotta push a button. Coming together.
I see Wilma's watching. Wilma posted a selfie and she was working on one of the Mystery Quilt blocks.
Awesome.
Hey, that's okay, Wilma. She said she's still in week 1, but that's okay because that's the nice thing about any sew along, kind of like Mystery Quilt. You can work along with us or at your own pace.
Now that green is really pretty. Oh, Vicky said her poppy cotton fabric arrives tomorrow. So she found it and got some. That's great.
Okay, so now this is my last piece of fabric I'll have to trim. And again, I'll use my hoop scissors mini. And I'm going to trim close to the tack down stitching on the inside edges of the block. And there's 2 sections to trim around with this piece of fabric.
But those minis get in there so nice.
They do. They make it easy. As I block you guys with my left arm. And I've mentioned this in other weeks, but it's always a good reminder. Notice when I'm trimming all of my fabrics, I'm just leaving it on a hard, flat surface. So you never want to take it and place it in your lap or anything like that, because it's easy to shift your design and your hoop a little bit that way, and that's never a good thing. Okay, so now we are on step 10. And hold on 1 second, Aubrey.
Okay. Yeah, and we see some people commenting about how long or what week they're on. It's no worries on our end. You just take your time and keep going, keep stitching.
Yes. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, we had a visitor for a moment.
I heard that.
Okay, so
Oh, Wilma had to get her trimmer by George imported. I love it.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, so step 10, we are going to use thread that matches fabric 6, and we'll sew the quilting.
That's the other thing is the videos are going to remain available. So what's really nice is you're getting the content live, but you can also go back and watch it in each week. So, if you're just starting or not at this point, you can always go back and watch them.
Yes. And one of the things I wanted to share, I'll show it in a bit, but just kind of show you a little bit of our slideshows that we offer. So there's not a slideshow with every single block, but there is at least one, maybe 2 slideshows depending on the week for this year's Mystery Quilt. And I think the slideshows are really helpful in addition to the demos because it gives you step-by-step instruction as well as an image of us actually stitching a block and how we're trimming each block, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, Sandra, you've been busy. You were working on 2 Hoop Sisters projects at once. So that happens.
Okay, now I'm going to switch my thread again. And this time, so we're on step 11 if you're following along with your instructions. We're on step 11 and we are going to switch to a thread that matches fabric 4.
Sarah, someone asked, did you do the sashing joining on the back or another technique? I think maybe asking about whether or not you're putting the backing on while in the hoop or not.
So in this block, I am not, but are you asking about the sample maybe? I'm wondering if she's asking about the sample.
Maybe.
The completed sample. If you could clarify in the comments about this block or the sample, and then we can answer that question a little bit better. Because I'm kind of doing 2 different things.
Yeah.
Okay, so they said they were asking about the sample. So with the sample, I added the back in the hoop and I did sash, those seams after joining them together. So I can show you the back. We'll do that after we're done with the demo. Okay, now I'm going to leave this thread in there. We are on step 12. And step 12 just says use thread color of your choice. And another reminder, hopefully this isn't way too close to the screen. Another reminder, I don't think it is. I think it's nice. When we say thread color of your choice on this quilt, I also included this section where it says thread choice, and then you can write what color you're using just so that, as you're stitching each of your blocks, you can reference back to which thread you use so that it goes together seamlessly at the end. Oh, now I need a new bobbin. Hey, Annie, if you are watching, could you bring me a bobbin? Okay, she's coming. 1 second.
Yeah, writing your thread color down is a really good tip. You'll be thankful you did later.
Yes. Thank you. So the visitor that was here a minute ago, there used to be a chiropractic office where we're right now. And he walked in and said, "Oh my." He said, "Is this the chiropractor's office?"
Yes, and we're
Cute.
making quilts in the lobby.
Yes. Yes. I'll just give you an adjustment in a moment. Okay. Okay, now we can go on with step 12. This will just sew some decorative stitching.
Oh, Linda, that does not sound fun. Speaking of allergies and the weather, she said that they had like an air quality alert come up, and her husband's a farmer and they're going to be out baling. And I know how tough that is when it isn't, when you have perfect conditions. So,
Yeah.
ay. Oh, that's awesome, Joanne. Thank you. That's so kind. She said she loves the instructions. So helpful to write down the thread choices.
Yes.
Absolutely. Sarah, could you tell us, Tammy's asking what color is fabric number 6 on your sample? Tammy, do you mean the one that she's doing right now, or do you mean the one that's up on the wall? Show us.
I can tell you both.
Okay.
So I don't have a fabric name for fabric 6, but my fabric 6 is this lighter solid pink that we're stitching on right now.
Perfect.
And then I can show up on the wall. It's actually also a pink. And the fabric name for the sample that I made, the full sample I made, you can find the fabric name in the fabric and thread key. And this step is finishing up, and then I think this is the end of step 12.
And just if anyone's watching and you kind of are the type of person who needs to know, like must know what the mystery quilt looks like before you order, just know that there is still time to order it at this price. But that opportunity is going to go away as of June 30th. And then the price is going to go up. So there is an advantage to ordering now. You can do that on our website, which is hoopsisters.com.
Okay, so step 13, we'll sew the satin stitch over fabric 2. So we just use a thread just in the needle that matches fabric 2. But I did go ahead and I did that ahead of time. So I'll sneak this in here.
Sarah, of the two of us, you've always been more of a planner and prepper than me. It's a good thing you do what you do, because
it depends.
She's like, I already planned ahead and did this.
It depends on the day, I think, right? Okay, so we're skipping step 13 and we are moving on to step 14. So let me get a thread in my needle. Let's see.
So Sarah, you've been designing quilts for Hoop Sisters for several years now.
Yes.
Is this the first mystery quilt that you've done on your own start to finish?
I did Mystery Quilt last year as well.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yes.
That's right. Yeah. So this is second one.
Yes. Okay, so step 14. Again, you'll use a thread color of your choice, and make sure you jot that down on your instructions so you remember. For actually this step in particular, step 14, I don't remember what week the block next to it was, but just reference those instructions for it would be block B2. And if you wrote down what thread you used, then you'd want to use the same thread because these blocks will match up. So this will just sew some decorative stitching. Again,
Uh-oh.
what happened?
I don't know. Things got moved. I don't
Oh.
know. But there you go. I was like, oh, that's.
You wanted to be on camera.
I didn't even hit anything.
Okay, so for step 15, same kind of situation as step 14. So it's the thread color of your choice. Just make sure you're referencing what you used in block B2 so that it goes together well. I'm going to leave the same thread in my needle for this step, and it's just some more decorative stitching.
No, I said, uh-oh, because I thought I lost you. I thought your whole thing went away, and I was like, oh, no.
Okay, and now we are on step 16. So you'd put a thread in your needle that matches fabric 5, and I happen to have that in my needle already. So we'll sew the satin stitching over fabric 5. Let me trim some of my threads I have here. This will bother me even if you guys can't see it. Okay, so now this is step 17 that we're on right now. And this is an optional step to add your backing fabric in the hoop. So right here. So if you are adding your backing fabric in the hoop, you would take your hoop off your machine, but leave your design in the hoop. I'm gonna flip my hoop over. And then right on the back of my hoop, I'm going over top my block, I'll align my backing fabric, and it does cling nicely to the battleizer. And then we'll just turn it over, making sure that your backing fabric stays where you want it to stay. You can just kind of peek under your hoop, put your hoop back on your machine, and then with a water-soluble thread, you would sew your tack down. Now, if you are choosing to add your backing fabric, which I'm not gonna do that today, but if you are adding it in the hoop, you would want to make sure that you're turning off your automatic thread cutter. You want, for each of the remaining steps, you want your bobbin thread to match the thread that's in the needle. And then it's also a good idea to bring that bobbin thread to the top of your block so that you can avoid any nesting on the back of your block. And if you do all these 3 things each time that you're stitching a block with the backing on, the back is going to be nearly as pretty as the front. So highly recommend just remembering those 3 things. So again, I'm not adding the backing fabric, and the remaining 3 steps we'll sew the satin stitching over fabric 5 up here. And then I'm going to forget which fabrics I'm working on. Let me turn my page. So it will stitch over fabric 5 up in this corner. And then it's going to stitch over fabric 3. This is just the satin stitch over these raw edges. And then lastly, it will do the satin stitch over fabric 1. So I did do all of those ahead of time. So what I'll do now is I'm going to go and move my camera over to my trimming area, and I'll give you guys a Trimmer by George demo.
Yes, Vicki, those 3 things are in the instructions.
And I can show you that again in one moment, and I'll read what it says. Aubrey, could you change the camera? If you want to hop over to the slideshow and just kind of page through that, I can talk a little about why those slideshows are so nice.
I sure can.
Thank you, ma'am.
And then Sandra asked, did you say that there's a right and wrong side to the battleizer?
Yeah, I'll show you that over here on this demo. There's not, I will say it's not a huge deal if you're not hooping, you know, the quote unquote right side up. But there is technically, you can kind of see kind of where the scrim from the stabilizer is if you look at the battleizer in nice lighting. Okay, so what Aubrey's showing you right now is she's showing you our slideshow for our block D1 from this week. And moving things as I'm talking. Block D1, so it just kind of shows you a picture of the block at first, And then on the page she was just on, it just shows you the supplies that you'll need. And what I love about it is you get the step-by-step instructions. So telling you, step 1, hoop your battleizer, place water-soluble thread in the needle and embroidery bobbin thread in the bobbin, and sew the placement stitch onto battleizer. You also get a picture of that particular step. So that's while we're stitching out a block, we take a picture of each of those. And if you tab forward a few pages, Aubrey, there we go. Right there on step 6, that's okay. Any of these steps really.
Did I move it too far?
No, that's fine. On step 7, for instance, you can see exactly how we have trimmed our fabric. And if you keep this up on your computer, you can really zoom in to see what we mean when we say trim on the inside of the block. So those are great reminders just to check out that slideshow if you're not sure about something. Okay, let me see. Am I all set up? I am all set up. Okay. So here is our final block. And you know what? Before I forget, someone asked if all those were in the instructions. So yeah, so for adding the backing on step 17, it just reads place backing fabric on back of hoop, put your hoop back on the machine, and then sew the basting stitch to hold the back on using water-soluble thread. Before stitching the final step, bring bobbin thread to the top of the block to avoid nesting. And then we always have this little reminder up here to turn off your automatic thread cutter. So hopefully that helps. There are, and I see Sandra is asking, are there slideshows for each week or just 1 and 4? There is at least 1 slideshow in every week. I know one of the week has 2 slideshows. I think week 3 has 2 slideshows, but I might be wrong on that. So yeah, I think there are a total of 5 slideshows. So not one for every single block, but one for many of the blocks. And I did my demos on blocks that do not have slideshows, I believe. So you can kind of work between those and get a lot of knowledge from them. Okay, so now this block in particular will have another block joined on all 4 sides. So what we need to do is remove the bulk from our seams, our seam allowance. And how we'll do that is we are going to use our trimmer by George. And this is just our nifty little acrylic ruler with this metal lip on the edge. And what this does is this will protect the front fabric from being sliced into when you use your 60mm rotary cutter to cut away that battleizer. And I will say, if you have added your backing fabric in the hoop, the how you utilize the trimmer by George to remove that bulk is the same exact way. So no worries if you've done that. So we're going to start by kind of standing up our trimmer by George on that metal lip. We'll shimmy it underneath the fabric on the front of the block and then lay it down. We always want to peek to make sure no fabric from the top of the block is sticking out. And then just give it a nice little shimmy with a gentle tug on that battleizer. And then with a 60mm rotary cutter, trim away your battleizer and backing fabric if you have it on. And I make sure that you're using a 60mm. I know some ladies say the 40 works fine, but if you're using a 40, you're probably angling your trimmer a little bit, which will either damage the side of your trimmer by George, or it's just going to make it more likely that you're trimming into your block. Okay. Do that again. So I'm going to stand it on its edge, shimmy it underneath the fabric on the top of the block, make sure no fabric is sticking out. A little shimmy as I tug a little lightly on the battleizer, and then trim away. Now, if one of these sides was going to be on the edge of your quilt, so if it were going to have any binding sewn to it, you would just want to trim a 1/4 inch through all layers. Okay,
Sarah, what size block are you doing right now? Is it a 5-inch?
Yes, this is a 5-inch.
Thank you. And do you happen to have the, what block is it? Like the position of it?
Yeah, this is block C2.
Thank you.
Okay, so there is our block. All trimmed up on the back. So all that bulk is removed, which is awesome. And then I just turn my trimmer by George over and use the acrylic ruler side, and I just trim 1/4 inch from the basting stitch on all sides. Has anyone never used a trimmer by George before? I love it. I think it's awesome. It beats the alternative of trying to use your acrylic ruler and lay it on that fabric.
Right.
So here is our block.
So cute.
C2.
Beautiful.
And then, so that is, we're done with trimming. I think I answered all the questions I said I would answer.
Yeah.
Let me know if I forgot any. What I'm going to do now is I think I'll turn the mystery quilt around really quick, and we'll show you the back, and then we'll show you the front again.
Okay, so you want me to go to you now on the big screen?
You can do that if you want. You're going to see me fumble with it, but I don't mind.
Okay, how about you fumble
Okay.
and I finish my thoughts on this. So real quick, I know that there's some people who have joined since I said this, so I'm gonna say it again real quick. We do have the free firework block going on now. It's free for a limited time, perfect for the 4th of July. It's on our website, hoopsisters.com. In the vintage butterfly tab, you can go there and see all the current things. So that's going on. And then I also just wanted to remind you that you are invited, all of you are invited to join us at our fall open house. I think we're only 9 weeks away, which is crazy. I have a lot of work to do. So we would love it if you planned a little road trip, came and saw us. We're going to have so much going on this day. There's going to be some demonstrations. Of course, there's going to be shopping. We're even going to have a few designs that we haven't released yet there. So this is going to be a lot of fun. So if you're thinking about coming, RSVP so that we can kind of plan accordingly. But this is also on the website in the open house tab. All right, Sarah.
Okay. So someone asked, I believe, while I was doing the demonstration, if I did sashing. So yep, I did sashing. There you can see it kind of used a fabric that stood out a little bit more. And then you can kind of see all of the quilting, and the border shows on the back, as well as the background quilting, and then the satin stitching around those rings. So there's the back. And Aubrey, do you want to switch over to my computer, and I'll just turn this around really quick because I know a couple people said they wanted to see it again. Thank you.
Yep. Okay.
All righty. So there it is, the final product.
Ta-da!
So, yeah.
And Sarah, I know you've been working on this a long time. Does it feel like it's been a long time coming? You can finally show it. Like, you got to be excited about that.
Yes. We've been hiding it for quite a while, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the block that we stitched out today, block C2. So yeah, I hope you guys like it. What was the info for bonus block for the butterfly quilt? Aubrey would be able to answer that one.
Okay, yeah, the info for that would be, actually, I have it here. Here we go. So the bundle, so if you get the bundle, we have a bundle bonus. And let me do this so that, okay. So we do have the bundle bonus. So that just means in order to take advantage of that, you put one of the bundles, either one. We have one with 5 yards and we have one with 15 yards. Pop that in your cart. Also put the bundle bonus in your cart, which is going to show up as $15, but the coupon code butterfly bonus. Once you have both of those in your cart and you're at checkout, put that code in. It'll take the $15 off. And that's going on till end of day Saturday. So Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 4 days. There's only 4
Something like
days
that.
left. And the bundles are 10% off. So if you're in another country, check your email. You have a different kind of situation because we can't send you Battleizer. So check your email if you're in another country. But if you're in the US, the butterfly bonus is what you need. And that's coming to an end very, very soon. So, all right. Are you, if you see any other questions you want to answer?
Yeah, there's one more.
Okay.
So Patricia asked, do you do the sashing block by block vertically and then a long strip horizontally? So we'll cover that a little bit more in detail next week when we do joining and sashing and just different approaches. So what I would recommend for this size quilt is to join it in quarters. So you'll kind of have a 9-patch section, so a 3x3 section, and then I would sash in one direction and then in the other direction. I would do that on each of my 4 sections. And then once you join, well, what I would do first is join my 2 sections together, sash this way, and I'll show you a little bit more of like a diagram next week that will help you hopefully understand this because I feel like I'm not making sense. But after I get my half of my quilt done and sashed, then I would repeat that on the other 2 sections. So I definitely you could sash each of your strips like in a long strip like that. You definitely could do it. I just find it's more manageable to work in a smaller section and only have 1 or 2 longer pieces of sashing to work with.
I also wanted to pop this up. I saw Anita, you said you ordered the butterflies and you didn't put the bonus in. If you got the bundle, the bonus or the butterfly bundle, and you forgot to put that in, just get a hold of us. Contact Nina, her email's there, the phone number's there, and she can help get that added. As long as you got the bundle, you're welcome to get that. Okay, why the serpentine stitch and not a straight stitch, Sarah?
So I think, and Annie is watching and hopefully she can chime in if she has another reason. I think the serpentine stitch blends in a little bit more with the quilting, especially if you're using a monopoly thread. I think it's also more forgiving. So that's why I like it. But Annie will be able to tell you if she has another reason that she likes it. She said yes. Okay. So we like it for the same reason. I think I'm thinking especially if you had a straight stitch going through each of these blocks, I just think it would stand out a little more. Mm-hmm. So there you go.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and do the giveaway, you guys. So if you have yet to do this, make sure you type reveal in the comments quickly. If you want to talk about that, what she just commented,
yeah.
Sarah.
She said it also makes it lie flatter. Uh-oh.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and do this giveaway real quick, if that's all right.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Are we ready? Here we go. This is always the fun part. I like doing the giveaways. And I see a lot of familiar names on here. Let's see. Miss Peggy Black, congratulations. You are the $10 store credit giveaway winner. So go ahead and email Nina at hoopsisters.com. Let her know that you are the $10 store credit giveaway winner, and she will pop that into your account so you can go shopping. How about that? All right. Any other questions that you see that we should address? That's true. It's also harder to sew it absolutely straight.
Yes. Yes. That's why I think that serpentine is a lot more forgiving, because if it's not necessarily perfectly straight, it doesn't stick out quite as much.
Yeah. Okay. Congratulations, Peggy. She's excited. Yes. That's fun. All right. So why don't you tell them what we're doing next week, and we'll call it a day for today.
So next week we will talk about strategies to join your quilt. So how to pin your blocks together to join them, as well as sashing if you added the backing while it was still in the hoop, and what to do to add the backing if you didn't add the backing in the hoop and you just want to add it in a larger section. So that'll be next week.
All right. Well, fantastic. Well, you will see you guys then.
All right. Bye.
Bye.